It's 1571. The Mediterranean was ruled by an unstoppable force, the Ottoman Navy. Their ships dominated the seas, their cannons crushed all in their path. But on a single day, in the Gulf of Patras, a coalition of Christian states dared to challenge them. Outnumbered, outgunned, yet determined, they faced the Ottomans in a battle that would echo through history forever. This is the story of the Battle of Lepanto. By the mid-16th century, the Ottoman Empire had become the dominant naval power in the Mediterranean. Their ships patrolled the seas from North Africa to the eastern Mediterranean, threatening Venice's trading ports, Spanish strongholds, and the Papal States. Fear swept across Christian Europe.
Respond.
But how, General? Our fleet is not ready.
The Ottomans seemed unstoppable, and many believed the Mediterranean might soon be theirs entirely. The Christian coalition had been promoted by Pope Pius V to rescue the Venetian colony of Famagusta on the island of Cyprus, which was being besieged by the Turks in early 1571, subsequent to the fall of Nicosia and other Venetian possessions in Cyprus in the course of 1570. On 1st August, the Venetians surrendered after being reassured that they could leave Cyprus freely. However, the Ottoman commander, Lala Kara Mustafa Pasha, had lost some 50,000 men in the siege and broke his word, imprisoning the Venetians, and had Marco Antonio Bragadin flayed alive. In response, Pope Pius V rallied the Christian kingdoms, forming the Holy League, a coalition of Spain, Venice, Genoa, and the Papal States. Their mission was clear: stop the Ottoman expansion, or risk losing control of the Mediterranean forever. For this coalition, the stakes were nothing less than survival: political, economic, and religious. All members of the alliance viewed the Ottoman Navy as a significant threat, both to the security of maritime trade in the Mediterranean Sea and to the security of continental Europe itself. Spain was the largest financial contributor, though the Spaniards preferred to preserve most of their galleys for Spain's own wars against the nearby sultanates of the Barbary coast, rather than expend its naval strength for the benefit of Venice. At the helm of the Christian fleet was Don John of Austria, an ambitious young commander and half-brother of King Philip II of Spain. Brave, charismatic, and determined, he had the enormous task of uniting a diverse fleet of soldiers, sailors, and mercenaries.
By the grace of God, we will win this day. For Spain, for Venice, for Christendom! To the ships, men!
Opposing him was Ali Pasha, a seasoned Ottoman admiral commanding a fleet larger and more experienced than any in Europe. His galleys carried thousands of well-trained soldiers, ready to crush the Christian forces with overwhelming firepower and tactics honed over decades.
Tonight, we remind them why the world fears the flag. Show no mercy! For the Sultan, for the Empire, for victory!
By early October 1571, both fleets converged near the Gulf of Patras. Over 200 galleys from the Holy League faced nearly 230 Ottoman vessels, each bristling with cannons and soldiers. The air was thick with tension. On one side, prayers were whispered for divine protection.
Simus in proelium.
Amen.
On the other, confident commanders sharpened blades and shouted orders. The two forces would collide in a battle that would become one of the largest and bloodiest naval clashes in history, a battle that would decide the balance of power in the Mediterranean for generations to come. While soldiers on board the ships were roughly matched in numbers, an advantage for the Christians was the numerical superiority in guns and cannon aboard their ships. It is estimated that the Christians had 1,815 guns, while the Turks had only 750 with insufficient ammunition. The Christians embarked with their much-improved arquebusier and musketeer forces, while the Ottomans trusted in their greatly feared composite bowmen. As the first light of dawn illuminated the Gulf of Patras, the sea transformed into a living battlefield. Hundreds of galleys from the Holy League and the Ottoman Empire approached, their oars slicing through the water like blades. Flags snapped violently in the wind, cannons glimmered in the rising sun, and the smell of salt mixed with the acrid smoke of gunpowder. The calm of the early morning masked the chaos that was about to erupt. The battle began with thunderous cannon fire as the fleets collided. Christian galleys, forming a strong defensive crescent, absorbed the initial Ottoman assaults. The Ottomans rammed their ships forward, trying to break the center, while their archers and gunners unleashed a storm of arrows and lead across the water. Fires quickly broke out on several galleys, smoke rising in thick, dark clouds.
Abandon ship!
The scene was one of utter chaos. The cries of the wounded mixed with the roar of cannons, and the Mediterranean waters were soon littered with debris, oars, and bodies. The wind was at first against the Christians, and it was feared that the Turks would be able to make contact before a line of battle could be formed. But around noon, shortly before contact, the wind shifted to favor the Christians, enabling most of the squadrons to reach their assigned position before contact. 4 galleasses stationed in front of the Christian battle line opened fire at close quarters at the foremost Turkish galleys, confusing their battle array in the crucial moment of contact. Around noon, first contact was made between the squadrons of Barbarigo and Sirocco, close to the northern shore of the Gulf. Barbarigo had attempted to stay so close to the shore as to prevent Sirocco from surrounding him, but Sirocco, knowing the depth of the waters, managed to still insert galleys between Barbarigo's line and the coast. The Christian galley slaves freed from the Turkish ships were supplied with arms and joined in the fighting, turning the battle in favor of the Christian side. Boarding actions became the heart of the conflict. Soldiers leaped from ship to ship, swords clashing, spears shattering, and shields splintering under relentless attacks. Some Christian galleys were nearly engulfed, but tight formations and disciplined crews allowed them to hold their ground. Don John's flagship became a rallying point, cutting through the waves, its crew pushing back Ottoman attackers with sheer determination. The Christian left and right wings maneuvered to encircle parts of the Ottoman line, striking at weak points and isolating enemy ships. The Holy League's discipline and tactical formations began to overwhelm the Ottoman crews. Ships were surrounded on multiple sides, and fires spread uncontrollably. Ali Pasha's orders struggled to reach his forces amid the chaos, and morale faltered. Soldiers who had been confident in the morning were now thrown into the water, fighting to survive, while galleys burned and sank. Isolated fighting continued until the evening. Even after the battle had clearly turned against the Turks, groups of Janissaries kept fighting to the last. It is said that at some point the Janissaries ran out of weapons and started throwing oranges and lemons at their Christian adversaries, leading to awkward scenes of laughter among the general misery of battle. At the end of the battle, the Christians had captured 117 galleys and sunk or destroyed some 83 others. Around 10,000 Turks were taken prisoner, and many thousands of Christian slaves were rescued. The Christian side suffered around 7,500 deaths, the Turkish side about 30,000. Other sources place the losses higher, with 10,000 Christians and 40,000 Ottomans dead. The battle raged for hours, a brutal combination of strategy, courage, and sheer endurance. The Christian fleet, though battered, gained the upper hand. Ottoman ships that had once advanced with terrifying speed were now trapped or destroyed, and the retreat became inevitable. Thousands of Ottoman soldiers perished, while the Holy League, though wounded and weary, emerged victorious. The battle marked the last great galley clash of the Renaissance and shifted the balance of power at sea. While the Ottoman Empire survived, Lepanto demonstrated that even the mightiest fleets could be defeated by courage, strategy, and unity. The Battle of Lepanto was a clash of empires, courage, and strategy that changed the course of history. If you thought this battle was epic, there are countless more legendary clashes waiting to be explored on our channel. Click here to dive into more of history's greatest battles and witness the stories that shaped our world.